My name is Christopher DeLeaf, and I'd like to discuss with you today 10 tips on executive coaching. These tips are the ones that I have chosen that I think are the most valuable for anyone to have. I'd like to begin with my first one, which is know yourself. If you know who you are on the inside, who you are on the outside, it'll create a better understanding of yourself so that when you are coaching with your coachee, there won't be any kind of ambiguity about who you are, and the other person won't have to worry about you worrying about yourself. A class such as interpersonal communications would greatly help you to just develop yourself in this area. The second point I'd like to make is that, just like your mother told you, you should mind your manners. When you're with anyone, you should have a good understanding not only of who you are, but what your actions are. Your actions speak louder than words, and that's very true. To create the halo effect, you'll want the other person to know who you are before you even say one word. And having good manners will help communicate this to your coachee. My third point that I'd like to make is that you should always have a sense of preparedness about you. Just like you should have good manners, such as dining at a restaurant and knowing which fork is which and chewing with your mouth closed, you should be prepared for a meeting. If you're going to have a meeting, you'll want to have the correct materials ready. You'll want to have any pens, pencils, or PowerPoints correctly put together before you even begin the presentation. Although you may not be giving a presentation to your coachee, it's still important to know what materials you'll need before the coaching begins. Point 4 has to do with knowing your audience. Hopefully by now you realize that you should have a good understanding of who you are, a good understanding of what you'll need for the presentation. Now you should know your audience, meaning what type of person are you going to be coaching? If this is someone who's in a really important job, in a really important company, you'll have to take yourself quite seriously. If you're doing this for someone who just needs a little extra push, you should know that too. Either case, know your audience. Going along with that, point 5 says that you should be well informed. Now, like I said, knowing your audience is being well informed. But let's take a step back and disregarding the person for just a second. Let's talk about the actual company that they're working for. If knowing the company that they work for and what expectations that company has for its employees, that will help greatly too in the coaching process. If you are well informed about the company itself, it'll set up a clear example for what you should be expecting to see from this person, or what you should expect this person to develop into. The first 5 points I've just discussed have to do with your pre-game, we'll call it that, but it has to do with what you can do before you actually begin the coaching process. The next 5 points are going to deal with the actual coaching process itself when you're dealing with the other person. And so point number 6 is one of the most important ones I feel when you're actually with the other person, that you need to keep it professional. If you start getting sloppy by having lunch, having dinner, and it really isn't doing anything to help the coaching process other than socializing, you're going to want to steer clear of that. As much as you may feel that you want to gain a connection with that person, maybe you just like them as a person, and that's great. But until your coaching experience is over with them and they now feel comfortable with who they are in their position, you really need to realize that you're there for one purpose and one purpose only. And that purpose is to help them with their professional career in any way that you can. And that's a big enough responsibility as it is. Instead of being their friend, instead of being this or that, of course you want to be cordial with them, having your manners about you, but keep it professional. Number 7 is a point that I feel is extremely important for progress. Point 7 I define as having goals with deadlines. I think everyone realizes how important goals are. Goals are what you strive to achieve for. But if you don't have a deadline for that goal, you may never achieve it, or you may never want to achieve it. Therefore, it's important to always set a deadline with a goal that you have. And you'll want to keep up. If that deadline comes around, you should be asking your coachee if he or she has accomplished it by the deadline. For point 8, you'll want to take an interest in the person. Not romantically, not in a friendship, but you want to take an interest in that person's success. Because you know that their success is your success. If you can be genuinely interested in a person, then you don't have to worry about being interested. And when someone is interested in you, or if you are interested in the person that you're coaching, it makes the experience so much more genuine. Tip number 9, I think, is a vital point to make in regards to the coachee's success. And that is that the other person should feel as though they created the success themselves. Why is that important? Well, you don't want to give the impression that you're just giving them all the answers, nor do you want to make it obvious that you're not giving any answers. So you'll want to make sure that you push them in the right direction, but that you don't just simply give suggestions like, how about you try doing this? Because that's still giving them a pretty straightforward path to take. You'll want to ask them to consider their options, to consider what they know in the job, consider where they want to be, have them consider everything, talk it back to you, and eventually they'll start formulating and postulating all kinds of different ways about going about things, and hopefully that will lead them to success. For my 10th point, I think it's always in everyone's best interest to have fun. And not simply have fun as in, like I said, you don't want to be unprofessional about it. But if you don't enjoy your job, if you aren't having fun helping this person create themselves as a better person, then, again, just like I said earlier, if you don't have that interest, if you don't have that want to be with them, it won't shine through. And so if you take an interest in your job and you have a good time with it, that's how you'll truly become a great executive coach. That being said, I'd like to say that I appreciate your time watching this video. I hope that you've learned something out of it. I tried to keep my points concise but informative and realistic. So, thank you for stopping by, and I hope you have a pleasant day and a great coaching experience sometime soon. Bye now.